Hello, good day guys. Welcome again to our classroom. Thanks for dropping by. At this juncture, we are going to continue our topic on addressing diversity through the years, spatial and inclusive education. We have already finished the models of disability. That is the first part. The second part would be the definition of terms. And this is the third part now. We're in. We will talk about the spatial and inclusive education. So, again, this is a lecture prepared for all students enrolled in the course Foundations of Spatial and Inclusive Education by yours truly, by our classroom. So, please bear with me. It's raining. So, if you are hearing some unnecessary sounds, it's okay. Yun lang ay ano lang naman yun ng ulan. Okay, so let us try to look into the following. What is special needs education? We always hear this special education program of the government, no? But are we aware what is this type of education? So, before we going further, let us try to look into what education means, no? What is the purpose or the objectives of education? So it says here that education is the action or process of teaching someone, especially in a school, college, or university. So this is what we're doing. You go to school, the teachers will teach you, they give you activities, they give you assessment activities, the computer grades, and then when you pass, you will be promoted to another level. Okay, so this is an action or a process, no? This is a process of the teachers teaching the students in school, in the college, and university. We're doing it, no? So, people typically go through this teaching learning process following a particular sequence. So, we have a sequence or step by step to follow when we talk about education, no? And ito yung sinasabi natin na kung ito ay proseso at ito ay sequence, hindi natin pwedeng laktawan ang isa. Okay, you get it? Kasi pag linaktawan mo ang isang proseso or isang sequence, namali ka. Okay? So, depende na lang kung ikaw ay yung sinatawag nilang marunong or you're a bright student na pwede mong laktawan ang isang grade level, no? So, but typically, for us, specifically, you as students, you will undergo in this particular sequence, no? Everyone who is going to school undergo with this following sequence. Number one, they're educated at home. So remember, this is very important. Parents are the first and the best teachers. So, children learn through modeling, no? Kung ano yung nakikita nila na minomodel ng magulang, ayun ang ginagawa nila. So, if the kids seem to talk, diba? Magta-trash talk yung bata, baka kasi sa bahay niya, nagta-trash talk din ang mga tao doon. Okay. Kung ano yung nakasanayan at nakikita ng bata sa loob ng tahanan, nakagisnan niya, at early age, there's a tendency that he will become that type of person too. So, if everyone's yelling in the house, okay? Diba? So, look at these children who grew with computers, with YouTube, okay? With social media. Paano sila lumaki? These kids are English speakers, no? Kasi pinapanood nila lagi eh. Yun yung naririnig, so yun yung natututunan nila. Okay? Yun yung lagi nilang nakikita araw-araw. So, education at home is very important. That is why it's very crucial for parents to look into their children. The way they talk, the way they talk, the way they act, okay? The way they talk with each other inside their house, okay? Even those things that they watch, no? And they listen to. It's very crucial kasi natatanim yan sa utak ng bata. Kaya kailangan dapat mag-ingat sa kung ano yung iparirinig at ipapakita sa bata sa loob ng tahanan. So basically, education starts at home. So, napakapalad yung mga bata na kapag pumasok na school, alam na nilang magsulat ng pangalan. I remember when I was a kid, okay, there were no daycare centers before, but when I entered grade 1, I know how to write my name already. Since in our house, my older brother, yeah, and my mother taught me how to write the alphabet already. Okay, so that's it. Children acquire their first lessons inside the house or in the home. Okay, and then they go to preschool. Okay, in preschool, this is the start of getting the formal education. No, formal kasi araw-araw papasok, tapos may grade sila, tapos mapropromote sila, di ba? Kung ano yung grade nila, nakadepende sa kung ano yung kaya nilang gawin. Okay? And then they enter elementary, high school, and college. So we know this process. So with the K to 12, with the birth of K to 12, high school is divided into two, junior and senior high school. Okay? We added 2 years, okay, sa pag-aaral nyo. And then after graduation, it depends on that person. It depends on you. It depends on the student. Some joins the workforce, others continue to pursue their education. Higher degree, okay? Specifically, those who are graduating from education courses, they go back to school, they take masteral and then doctoral, and then they also join the workforce. So, whatever is your lack after graduation depends on you. Okay, so basically and typically, that is the sequence of the process of teaching, learning. Okay? So, the real goal of education is becoming. Okay? Becoming a good person. So, you see? And becoming a more capable person than when you started. So, let's talk about becoming a good person. Isn't it that I always tell you that being a teacher, you do not just teach the content of the book, okay? You do not just teach the content of the module or the lesson, but you need also to teach the students about life. Values formation is very important. That is why it is important for the preschool, no? The preschool to enhance their teaching in values orientation, no? Values orientation, values formation. Because it's very important for the kid to have good values in life rather than memorizing the multiplication table, okay, etc., etc. Number 1 here is the values formation, because you are developing a person or a good person, okay, and at the same time becoming a more capable person than when you started. When you started going to school, ito lang yung kaya mong gawin. This is limited yung knowledge mo, but it is expected that when you finish like a year in school, specifically if you finish your course, then it is expected of you that you are more capable than before. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, you can apply for a job since you are capable. Mas natuto ka. Mas madami kang alam na ngayon at marami kang kayang gawin. So, that is the real goal of education. To becoming, okay? For you to become a good person and for you to become more capable than when you started. Okay? That's it. And another one, education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. Okay. Hindi daw ito pagpupuno ng isang timba, kundi ito ay pagsisiga ng apoy, no? Okay. Tawag natin dito, kumbaga parang sinusunog kayo. They are lighting you, no? Pinagniningas kayo sa pamamagitan ng maraming knowledge, maraming kaalaman. Para sa ganun, you can burn the entire humanity. Meaning to say, you can influence others, no? You can influence others. So, a teacher's role in education is very important since you become the influencer. Okay? Imagine those number of students na dadaan sa kamay mo. Tapos wala ka man lang isang mai-inspire. Anong silbi ng pagiging teacher natin kapag ganun, di ba? So, you remember that the goal of education, I repeat, is to light the fire in us. Okay? To help the students to become someone, no? Capable of doing something good in their country, something good to their family, something good to themselves, no? And it is your duty now to influence them to become good persons, no? It is very important for children now to at least develop, okay, and become good person who could help build this nation, okay, a stronger nation. And of course, even if these children are living in the digital world, they should at least enhance their values, okay, that they do not lose their good values in exchange of technology, di ba? Okay. Next one. The following are the aspects of education that needs to be addressed. So, if we talk about education, these are the areas or the aspects that you need to address, no? Number one is the learning in order to know. Learning in order to know, yes. We learn in order to know the hows, the whats, the whys, no? And then, learning in order to do, how? Okay, we'll answer the question how. So, we are going to include here teaching the students the skills, no? Hindi dapat hanggang doon sa alam lang nila yung teorya. They should apply it, okay? Halimbawa, nagturo ka ng sanaysay or an essay, pero hindi mo sila pinagsulat. That is useless. Let them do it, no? Let them apply what they have learned in an actual situation. Okay. Learning so we can live harmoniously with others. This is very important, no? The way you interact and collaborate with other people is very important also. And education helps you helps you achieve this. That is why in a classroom, teachers are giving collaborative works, collaborative activities, no? Wherein you work with your classmates, no? Because you need to live harmoniously with them. And of course, it's not only with others, no? You live also harmoniously with yourselves, your own selves, and even the environment. Okay? Your surroundings. And of course, last one is learning in order to become someone you wanted to be. That is the goal of education. That is the role of learning. Okay? So additionally, for the goals of education to be realized, education itself has to be available and accessible to all. This is what we are telling you because we are addressing the problem on diversity. We have to put in mind that education should be available and accessible to all. Whether that student is able or disabled, normal or abnormal as we call them, no? Even if these students are poor, even if these students are coming from the barrio, okay? Even if they belong to the third sex, education should be accessible and available. No one should hinder someone to enter a class or to come to school, okay? And this is now what we are talking about, inclusivity, no? And spatial education. That an education system or education should be accepting enough, no? And same is true with the educators that we should be accepting, okay? Yung kaya nating yakapin lahat ng estudyante mula sa iba't ibang walks of life, iba't ibang kalalagayan, kaya natin silang tanggapin at kaya natin silang turuan. That is why we have this spatial education, wherein we prepare spatial curriculum, spatial activities, spatial lessons for these special students. Okay? The vision of education for humanity is noble and appropriate. Yes, sabi nga nila, education is the noblest of all profession. That is why the vision of education for humanity, for the worldwide, worldwide, for the world, no, is noble and appropriate too. And that the nobility, yung pagiging noble natin na nagtuturo ay hindi ito natutumbasan ng kahit anong pera, no? And it is the vision. Ito yung kumbaga parang nakikinikinita na ng edukasyon sana na ang sangkatauhan, no? Ang sangkatauhan ay magkakaroon ng pagbabago. And that is our noble ambition. as a teacher, no? So, here comes now the special education as regarded as an attempt to increase the fairness of universal public education for exceptional learners. Because there are those with special difficulties or extraordinary abilities in learning. So, special education is the answer for diversity, the problem in diversity. It is an attempt, no, to increase fairness and justice of the universal public education for exceptional learners or for learners with special needs or with disabilities. Wherein, even if that classroom, no, is normal classroom, we accept these students. No? We attempt to show fairness through treating these students in a normal basis. Normal dapat, no? Because there are those with special difficulties. Whether we like it or not, there are students or there are people that are extraordinary. They are special. They have extraordinary abilities. Okay, minsan super intelligent, minsan super late naman ang development ng brain. So, these are special cases, no? And special education here is designed to at least try, okay? Try to increase, okay, the acceptance of these people inside the normal classroom. The essence of special education lies in the goal to educate a certain population of students, particularly those at the tail ends of a normal statistics or statistical distribution of performances, because meron tayong mga estudyante na tinatawag nating nasa laylayan or nasa baba pa or dulo ng yung tail ends na sinasabi nila, na kumbaga parang kung tutuusin, hindi sila normally nakakapasok dapat sa normal school, no? In a normal environment like that. It's because number one, they are special nga. They have special needs, or these are persons with disability. But the essence of special education, since it was designed, is to educate those population. Okay? That is why we have this special education program in the Philippines. There are some special schools established to entertain these students, no? The special schools, wherein every person with disability are brought to that school, no? But again, not everyone can afford. Okay? And special schools are very limited. Okay? So the solution is to bring these special children or persons with special needs or persons with disability to a normal classroom. Okay? So, special education are designed for special children, no? But again, I repeat, there are limitations, no? That is why not everyone is being entertained. Not everyone can afford to bring this to special schools. So, the parents tend to bring their children with special needs to normal schools. That is why inclusion comes in. Papasok na ngayon yung usapin ng inclusion, wherein inclusive education is an educational practice that places students with disabilities in general education. O, di ba kanina, yung sa special education, sabi ko, minsan at kadalasan ay may mga nabubuong special schools para sa mga disabled talaga. Pero inuulit ko ha, hindi lahat ay kayang dalhin ang mga anak nila na may special needs sa mga schools na to. Una, hindi lahat ng probinsya or bayan sa Pilipinas mayroong special schools. So, what should you do if you are living, halimbawa in Nueva Vizcaya and there are no special schools? So, you tend to bring your child to a normal school. Okay. So, dahil nga hindi normal yung anak na yon, hindi normal yung bata ngayon, papasok ngayon yung usapin ng inclusivity or inclusion. So, it is a practice that places these students with disabilities in a general education classroom or a normal classroom. Okay. So along, they typically develop with, okay, parehas lang, with the children that are normal, no? And of course, with the supervision of the teacher. So ito ngayon na challenge. Dito papasok yung challenge sa'yo as a teacher. Paano? How are you going to treat this kind of issue in a classroom? Sige nga. Diba? We have a population of 40 and you have 3 students with special needs. How are you going to treat it? It's now the challenge. This is now the inclusion. This is now the essence of inclusivity. That you don't have and you have no right to reject these students. But you include them. You welcome them. You embrace them. Okay? That is what inclusion means. So, it takes root in special needs of education. So, sabi ko nga kanina, nag-ugat ito sa special needs education kasi nga, paulit-ulit kong sinasabi, hindi naman lahat nakakayang pumunta sa special schools, no? So, you tend to bring these students with special needs to normal school and inclusion comes in. That whether we like it or not, we have to include them, accept them in that classroom. So, anchored on the philosophy that every child has an inherent right to be educated, equally with his peers, no matter how different he or she may appear to society. So, he is different. He has disability. But, he has the right to access to education. Meron siyang karapatan to be educated equally together with his peers, together with his classmates, even though he is different. He is disabled. But, you give him the education he deserves because that is his right. Karapatan niya yon. Okay? As a Filipino citizen. So, here are the guidelines for inclusion. This was drafted by UNESCO and published and drafted by UNESCO in 2005. Number 1, inclusion is a process that is a never-ending search to find better ways to respond to diversity. Yes. Diversity has been a problem through the years. No? And sometimes, the issue on diversity results to bullying, results to discrimination. But inclusion here is always the answer. It tries to at least answer the problem. Okay? It is an ending process. It never ends. It continues to search a better way to respond to diversity. Until at this moment, no? The inclusion is still in process. That is why we are including this course in the curriculum for us to teach you future educators on how are you going to practice inclusion in your classrooms later on. Inclusion involves a preventive dimension, specifically in identifying and removing potential barriers to this process through collecting, collating, and evaluating information for improving policy and practice. So, preventive dimension. Okay. So, specifically, we identify, through this process, no, we identify and remove potential barriers. No? Ano yung mga potential barriers na pwedeng sasabihin nating it hinders the inclusion. Okay. Number 1, of course, is the actual condition of the child. Okay. And another one is ang kakulangan natin on how to handle this situation. And next one is the environment. O, paano pag yung classroom mo, hindi naman siya talaga nakadesign at walang space for these kids, no? And again, environment, if you talk about environment, your classroom is in the 3rd floor, naka-wheelchair yung bata, halimbawa, di ba? So, these are factors. So, through collecting, collating, and evaluating the information that you gather out from these students with disabilities, you will know how to handle it and you remove the barriers. Tatanggalin mo, sosolusyonan mo yung problemang yun para sa ganun ay matuloy or mabigyang katuparan yung process of inclusion, no? Na hindi yung inclusion lang by theory, but by practice you are not doing it, no? So, you try to look into a certain place wherein these barriers are being removed, no? So that the process of inclusion will really work out. Okay? Inclusion is all about the presence, participation, and achievement or learning outcomes of all types of students. So, wala kang ito nakabigin. As I've said, these persons with disability that you have included in your classroom, they have to participate. Okay? You have to look into their presence, their participation, and achievement as or like the normal students. Huwag mo silang i-treat as, alam mo yun, abnormal. They should not feel nakakaiba sila. Okay? There is a special program designed for them, but let them feel that they are normal when they are inside the classroom together with their classmates. Okay? You should let them feel that they are welcome, they are treated as normal people. Remember, disability is a social construct. The way you see it is the way they feel it. Pag sinabi mong, you stay there because you are disabled, then there is disability. But if you say, you participate because you can do it, then there is no disability at all. Okay? So, it relies and depends on the teacher on how we are going to embrace these students and treat them as normal like the other students. Treat them normally, but they are still special. I hope you're getting my point. Inclusion puts particular emphasis on learners who may be at risk of marginalization, inclusion, and underachievement. Okay. So, we are not just talking about students with disability. Even the marginalized, those coming from the barrio, those who are, what you call this one, who are belonging to the IPs, no? Those who are internet, what you call this one, yung naninibago sa internet, anong tawag niyo sa kanila? Those internet immigrants, okay, digital immigrants, no? So these are problems also to be addressed by inclusivity or inclusion. Hindi lang to usapin ng disability, no? But even the marginalized, the excluded, the underachievements, no? Underachievers. You include them. You treat them as normal students. Halimbawa, meron kang estudyante, as in, ayaw talagang magsalita, tapos laging nasa gilid. Lagi mo siyang i-involve. Huwag yung nasa gilid na nga, hinahayaan mo pa. Mararamdaman niya na hanggang panggilid lang siya hanggang sa dulo ng semester. You try to include everyone. You put emphasis to these learners. Okay? If one day, you gonna realize that there are students, okay, who feels like rejected. Okay? They are inferior. You try to involve them as often as you can so that they will feel that they are welcome, they are embraced, they are included in the classroom. Okay? So, these are not just an issue of disability. Even the marginalized, the excluded, and the underachievers. Okay? Do not concentrate your attention to those who are bright students, no? Ang gagaling na nga nila, di ba? So, let these bright students also assist you in teaching these students who are hard up, like ginagawa ng grade 1 teacher namin way back, no? Because a group of students can read ahead of the other students. Ang ginagawa niya, naiiwan sila tuwing tanghali tapos pinapabasa nila yung mga classmates nila na hindi marunong magbasa. And at the end of the year, nagbabasa na silang lahat, di ba? So, you tap the help of these students, the brighter students, to help you, okay? Assist these students to the other students, okay? So, I repeat, inclusivity does not only include these students with special needs, no, or the PWD, but also even these people who are marginalized, excluded, and underachievers. Okay? Inclusion in education involves the following. Okay? Ano-ano yung mga kasama sa inclusion sa education? Valuing all students and staff equally. Yes. Inclusion. Accepting. Including everyone. That is why they are treated equally. They are valued equally, no? walang nakakalamang. Dapat pantay-pantay ang pagtingin natin sa estudyante, no? That is inclusivity. That is inclusion. That is one involvement. That is one role in inclusion. That we have to value all students and staff equally. Okay, walang favoritism. Equally, even if, halimbawa, they are members of the PWD, okay, they are culturally marginalized, you still value them equally. Okay. Kasi nga, ang role natin ay para ma-develop sila, di ba, holistically at the end of the year. Or at the end of the semester. So, another one, increasing the participation of students in and reducing their exclusion from the cultures, curricula, and communities of local schools. Okay. You increase the inclusion and education involves the increasing of participation of students in all activities inside the classroom and activities within campus, within the school. And reducing their exclusion, yung hindi mo sila ine-exclude. Okay? Hindi mo sila pinagwawalang bahala. Wala dapat na i-exclude sa lahat ng activity. Even if they are students with special needs, you try to find a way for them to be included in all your assessment activities, in all the classroom games. Okay? Wala dapat na i-exclude. So, reducing exclusion and increasing inclusion or participation in all cultures, curricula, communities of the local schools. So, lahat yan, tinitingnan natin. Dapat, kahit saan ka galing, okay? Sabi nga ni RM, di ba? No matter who you are, where you're from, your skin color, your gender identity, we have to include these students, no? And then, you reduce their exclusion. Another one is restructuring the cultures, policies, and practices in schools so that they respond to the diversity of students in the locality. So, it's also the job of the school administrators to make policies of the schools that could, look into the restructuring of the cultures and policies. Okay? So that the curriculum, okay, that is being offered to that certain school respond to diversity of students in the locality. Okay. Naalala ko na naman yung mother tongue, no, na naging problema ito kasi in Nueva Vizcaya, Iloco yung mother tongue kasi nga Ilocano country ang Nueva Vizcaya. But then, hindi nakita ng DepEd na sa mga baryo, iba naman yung nakasanayang wika, yung mother tongue. Diba? So, hindi ito nakita na yung kultura may nagagawa sa edukasyon. Kaya nung dinala yung Iloco as the mother tongue, yung mga Ifugao, Kalanguya, okay, Ibaloy, nahirapan sila sa mother tongue. Kasi nga, hindi naman nila mother tongue yung ginamit talaga. So, it is now the role of the school administrators to look into this. In order that the programs being offered in the schools tend to respond to diversity of the students. The diversity of the students. Para hindi naman nahihirapan ng mga estudyante. No matter what culture they belong, dapat ay nagre-reach out sa kanilang school. No? Hindi yung sila lagi yung nag-a-adjust. Okay? Inclusion also involves reducing barriers to learning and participation for all students, not only those with impairments or those who are categorized as having special educational needs. So, reducing barriers to the participation and involvement to those special students with special needs or those who are impaired, may depekto sa katawan physically halimbawa, or those having special educational needs. Ang gusto ng inclusion ay bawasan yung barriers. Bawasan yung problema, hindi yung dadagdagan. Inclusivity welcomes everyone. And if there is a problem, we have to address it so that these students with special needs can be involved, and can participate. Okay? Kaya nang sabi ko, kung ang classroom mo halimbawa ay hindi siya designed for PWD, dapat ma-reduce yung barrier na yon. Dapat maayos yung classroom so that it will be PWD friendly. Di ba? That is what the inclusion wants to happen in a classroom. Another involvement is learning from attempts to overcome barriers to the access and participation of particular student to make changes the benefit of students more widely. Okay, so it is an attempt to overcome the barriers. Hindi yung pag may barrier na yan, ayaw mo na. Solusyonan natin and then you welcome it. You overcome it. So that there would always be access in the participation of the students. Everyone. That is inclusivity. No one should be left behind. No matter who he is. Okay? Diba? No matter his condition and situation is, he should participate and have access justly and fairly like other students. Okay? So, inclusion in education also involves viewing the difference between students as resources to support learning rather than problems to overcome. Okay? So, look at this student, look at your students as someone who can help you, who can support the learning, who can model the learning, whom you can mold, whom you can teach, whom you can influence, rather than their problems that you need to overcome. Never look at students as problems to overcome, but look at them as your opportunity or your chance to change life. Even if these students have special needs, don't look at them as problems. Look at them as normal students. And then, try to influence. That is very important. Your influence is endless. So, remember that, teacher. You have to be an influence. And again, I repeat, never treat a student a problem to overcome. They are not problems to overcome. They are resources that needs your support. Okay? Acknowledging the right of students to an education in their locality. Yeah. Education is for all. No matter who he is, no matter the condition is or the situation is, everyone should be welcome. The education should be offered equally and it should be accessible to all places, at all times, at all walks of life. So, inclusion acknowledge the right of students to education. No matter what their condition is, they have the right to be educated. At karapatan nila yon. At dahil karapatan nila, tungkulin mo bilang guro na ibigay ito, kahit ano pa ang kondisyon niya. Iyon ang gusto ng inclusion, the inclusivity, no? And, improving schools for staff as well as for students. Sinasabi ko, karapatan nila na mag-aral, kahit ano yung condition nila, pero dapat ibigay din ng school ang isang environment that is very friendly to them. Okay? That addresses that certain problem so that they will act normally. We should improve their environment. That is inclusion. Emphasizing the role of schools in building community and developing values as well as in increasing achievement. Okay? So, it emphasizes the role of schools in building the community and developing values. Ito yung sinasabi ko. What is important for a school or for a teacher is to develop the values of their students. So that when you go out, these students go out to their communities, makikita yung pagbabago sa kanila. Makikita yung values nila, no? At ito ang gusto ng inclusion, no? We increase the values formation of the students. And it is the role of the school to do it. Okay? Tandaan natin na ang ating goal sa edukasyon ay hindi lang tawag natin no, magluwal ng mga estudyante na successful at magtatrabaho in the near future, kundi magluwal ng mga estudyante na responsible to their nation also. Okay? Hindi lang limited sa sarili at sa pamilya, kundi even in nation building. That is why we have to develop their values. That is very important. Values formation is very important. Fostering mutually sustaining relationships between schools and community. Okay, so inclusion sustains the relationship between schools and the community, no? It is but a responsibility or obligation, okay, of the schools to get out from the community. Bakit pa tayo nagtuturo? Para mag-produce ng mga estudyante na lalabas sa komunidad. At pag lumabas sila, ang makikita sa kanila ay kung ano yung natutunan nila sa loob ng school. Kung kabastusan yung nasa kanila, okay, sasabihin hindi marunong magturo naman yung graduate ng ganito. Sinong unang babalikan? Di ba yung school? That is why the relationship between schools and communities can be sustained if we continue to produce graduates that serves the community right. Diba? Kasi nga sino bang pagsisilbihan ng mga graduates na to? Yung mga community. Saan titira yung mga pupils na to? Sa komunidad. At kailangan yung relationship ng school at komunidad ay mutual lang. Dapat nag-i-improve yan every day, no? That is why we are helping mold these students to become better citizens in their respective communities. So, let's talk now about, let us summarize the lesson from the lesson 1, 2, and 3, okay, about addressing the problem on diversity. So, in summary, we always say that everyone has a right to education. Given na yan. Nasa batas natin yan. Everyone, no matter who he is or the condition is, everyone has the right to education. Kahit matanda ka na, kung gusto mo mag-aral, mag-aral ka. Kahit disabled ka, kung gusto mo mag-aral ka, mag-aral ka. Kasi nga, karapatan mo yan. Having a disability should not be an excuse for being deprived to access to schools. Neither should poverty, religion, or race. You see, diversity does not only root with the issue of disability, but also poverty, religion, and race, etc., etc., even your gender preference. So, having a disability or coming from a poor family, or no matter your religion is, or no matter your race is, it should not deprive you with this right. Okay? Kasi wala namang sinabi doon na, this is the right to education, but these are the, wala namang sinabi. Pero sinabi lang doon na everyone, no? Ibig sabihin, lahat yan. Kahit sino ka pa. Okay? And these issues on poverty, religion, race, sexual orientation, disability, should not deprive anyone to access to education. No one should deprive you. Okay? That is why, again, inclusion or inclusive education is an inevitable direction to take and must be properly understood, appreciated, and prepared for within the context of society being accepting of individual differences. So, inclusive education should be understood. You should understand that inclusive education includes everyone, welcomes everyone, no matter who they are. No? Kasi nga, education is for all. So, kung sino man sila, sa classroom mo, may nag-enroll sa'yo ng PWD, or kahit sabihin natin pinakamahirap sa lahat ng mahirap, what should you do? You accept it. Diba? And treat them normally. That is inclusive education. It is the solution to the issue of disability, the issue of, what do you call this one? The issue of diversity brought by these factors, this disability, poverty, etc., etc. And for a nation to be truly inclusive, so we're talking about the entire nation now this time. At a bigger picture, no? One must start from a humane perspective of disability and a transformative mindset of inclusion. So, for a nation to be truly inclusive, one, especially teachers, must start from a human perspective of disability. That there is no such disability, and disability is just a product of social construct. So that if you look into this one, if you believe that disability is a product of a social construct, then we look into disability as an ability. Hindi siya disability, but ability. We do not look at these people as abnormal, but they are normal. And that is a human perspective. Okay? Huwag mo silang tingnan na may defect. Diba? Kundi tingnan mo silang walang defect. And they are normal so that you can treat them normally. Though they are special, but treat them normally. So that they can feel that they are normal. Na meron silang silbi. Na hindi sila nare-reject. Nagets nyo ba? And of course, it also starts in a mindset, a transformative mindset on inclusion. That as a teacher, you have to include everyone. Inclusion is very important. Put that in your brain. Have the mindset. You are transformative teachers. You are not these ordinary teachers. So that if you understand the perspective of disability from that humane perspective, okay, you will be having that mindset of inclusion that a classroom is an avenue for inclusion, no matter who they are, no matter their life condition and situation is. You should be a welcoming teacher. You welcome everyone in the classroom. You treat them normally. You treat them justly and fairly, no? So that everyone will involve. That is inclusion. So again, I repeat, for a nation to be truly inclusive, one must start from a human perspective of disability and a transformative mindset of inclusion. I do hope, my dear students, that when you set your feet in an actual classroom, you will remember this time. You will remember this video. You will remember this lesson that once your professor said that in order for us to develop a nation of justice and fairness, we should accept that education is for all, no matter the condition is. And we have to start from the humane perspective and look into disability as an ability. And then, we should be very welcoming. We should know what inclusion is. We should include everyone. Let us not exclude anyone, but include everyone. That is your role as a teacher. And if you do this, then you did well. You did well. NVSU will be very proud of you. Thank you so much, my dear students. I'll see you again next video. I hope that you'd learn something from our classroom. Remember, na sa ating classroom, lahat ay matututo kahit magkakalayo. Goodbye. Marzi, kain sa hamdida.